that time of week again. It's time for Knights Talk. I'm your host, Rob Leonard. Your Meaford Knights had one game this week, but before we get to that, two very important player acquisitions this past week by the Knights of Meaford. My color commentator, Gord Chapman, and I announced during last Thursday's game that David Hooper was back as a member of the Knights of Meaford. He had a little cup of coffee down there in Welland, Junior Canadians, but he is now back with Meaford. He was acquired in a trade with Orangeville. Meaford sending Ladislav Sush the other way. Very happy to have David back in a Knights uniform. You saw him as a forward last year. David's coming back to Meaford as a defenseman this time around. And David got talking to him last week at the rink, and he said that he actually had played defense for most of his career, had played 2 years as a forward, but now he's going back to defense. So welcome back, David Hooper. And another exciting announcement, just announced not more than an hour ago. Last year's third leading scorer on the Knights, Derek Boudrea from Gatineau, Quebec, will be, actually he's in Meaford now. He was on the train when I heard that he was coming back, and he'll be on the ice this afternoon, this being Tuesday, 3 o'clock. He's on the ice practicing with the Knights now. Hopefully Thursday night in the lineup. Derek Boudrea, get excited, Meaford. Derek Boudrea is back in town. All right, let's go Thursday night. Meaford facing the Orangeville Ice Crushers. We have all the goals from this one. Jack Edmonds has touched the puck in the Meaford goal. Here's Kyle Stevens' shot. One-timer scores! What a beautiful play, beautiful shot. Now here come the Knights. Here's Connor Annett. Annett's got scores! Connor Annett. This Orangeville Ice Crushers team here in this first period.
And so they should be, because the Knights are a better hockey club, I think. So
scores! All alone, I think that's Callum Queenan. Players either not wearing their mouth guards or having them hanging out of their mouths, or not wearing their neck guards. Here's Will Vernon with a shot. That misses, and it shot scores! Here's Ragnar Russ, circles in the corner. Gets it back out to Will Vernon. Vernon shot scores! I believe he scored the third goal for Orangeville in that game, and just a beautiful, beautiful individual effort. In front, scores! All alone in front. Callum Queenan gets his second goal of the game. Connor Annett lays it back to Watson. Watson to Haggerty. Shot right on, scores! Puck is tipped back in. Was he on the right side of center? He was. Pat Pearson clears it in there. Puck's out front, loose, and scores! Matthew Shearer. Such a nice, well-spoken young man, and finally, limited playing time, scores! There goes the shutout. A player blows a tire. 3-on-1 Knights. Kyle Stevens scores! Here's the 2-on-1. Brennan Watson. You got Callum Queenan. Queenan scores! There's the hat trick. Callum Queenan. Now to MacPherson. MacPherson plays it across to Kevin Palma. Palma scores! Kevin Palma! His very first goal. Good save there by Yaremchuk. Here's Ladislav Sush. He'd love to get one against his former teammates. Here's a pass in front. What a shot. Beautiful backhander in there. And as you can see, the only team doing the crushing on this night was the Knights of Meaford, as they totally demolished the Orangeville Ice Crushers by a score of 11-2. And I got to tell you, my partner Gord Chapman and I were both very surprised at the outcome of that game. Orangeville, yes, they've had their troubles, but nobody would have predicted an 11-2 score in favor of the Knights of Meaford. But the Knights have been playing some really good hockey lately. That was their fourth win in a row. We'll take a look at the goal scorers in this one. Callum Queenan with his very first Junior A hat trick. In this one, he had 3. Connor Annett, 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points. Singles going to Kyle Stevens, Harley Haggerty, Alexander Nazkov, Eric Lowry, Matt Shearer and Kevin Palma both recording their very first goals in junior hockey. Congratulations to them. And Brennan Watson was there with 4 helpers on the night. So Meaford again demolishing Orangeville by a score of 11-2. And as I said, that's a 4-game win streak, the biggest win streak of the season for the Knights of Meaford. So they're definitely on a roll. They had everything clicking on that night, everything from the power play to the penalty kill. Obviously on the goal scoring, the defense, everything was working well for the Knights of Meaford. So if we could take a look now at the league standings. New Tech, I'm going to call them New Tech. It's a lot easier to say than the whole name. The New Tech Civics sitting on top as they have been all season long, 46 points. Perry Sound in second as they have been as well with 39 points. Bradford Rattlers at 34 points. The team that everybody was talking about sits at the number 5 spot, Almaguin. Almaguin had a 10-game winning streak, and I guess it was about a week ago, the Bradford Bulls beat them to end that winning streak. So, but Almaguin would come back against the Bradford Rattlers the other night and beat them by a score of 6-3. Moving down the list, let's take a look at these Knights of Meaford now. They have really tightened things up in the bottom 6 or so after the top 5, sorry. And Meaford on a roll, as I said, with 4 straight wins. 2 of those wins coming against a team that's just ahead of them, against the Bradford Bulls. And West Nipissing has fallen now in behind Meaford. Orangeville, Wyerton bringing up the rear in this division. So now if we could take a look at the upcoming games. Upcoming games, okay, we're missing Thursday night. Thursday night at home, the Knights of Meaford have a really important game against the Bradford Rattlers. This will be the litmus test for Meaford on this 4-game winning streak. Is this winning streak for real? We'll find out on Thursday night. Bradford Rattlers sitting in 3rd spot. I checked the stats this morning. Bradford has scored 80 more goals than what the Knights of Meaford have at this point. They have a high-powered offense, which we'll take a look at in a minute when we look at the league's leading scores. But on the other hand, Bradford has allowed 30 more goals than what the Knights have at this point of the season. So it kind of tells me, if I'm looking at it, you got to shut down those top 3 on Bradford. Defense first in that game, and we'll see what happens. The Knights, of course, this will be a renewal of the quarterfinal matchup last year when the Knights beat the Bradford Rattlers in the 5-game series, 3-1. So be there, Meaford, Thursday night. It's going to be a barn burner. All right, let's take a look now at the Knights' leading scorers. All right, as I said, you take a look at the top 2. You got Des Louis from the Rattlers, 17-year-old from Russia, 82 points in 25 games. Teammate Stepan Timofeyev, 78 points. Then in 4th, Rasmus Brunberg sitting there with 62 points. And as I said, those top 3 really providing a lion's share of the offense for the Rattlers. As I said, we'll be here on Thursday night. Take a look at the Knights' leading scorers. They're starting to pick it up now. Connor Annett still leading the way as he has all season long with 40 points. Nazkov, 34 points. Cole MacPherson, 26 points. Kyle Stevens is steady, the Boston, Mass native with 21 points. Brendan Watson with 16 points. Then we'll take a look at our defensive people there. You got Connor Long with 14, Will Vernon with 13. Callum Queenan, all the way from England, sitting there, 7 goals, 5 assists, 12 points. Another defenseman at number 10, Eric Brinnestad, the pride of Norway, sitting there, I believe it was with 10 points. So now let's take a look. Oh, I guess it's time for Meet the Knights. And I believe Eric Lowry is our guest on Meet the Knights for this week. Eric comes all the way from Gap, Pennsylvania. Yeah. I do have an American question in here for you, but we'll get to that later on. Are you ready?
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right. In a zombie apocalypse, which teammate would you want fighting alongside of you?
Oh, that's a good question. Hard to pick. I don't know how many guys could fight off zombies on this team or live off the land, Well, I'm going to go with Jacob Adams. I feel like he could do it. He'd be a solid partner in crime.
Jacob Adams. All right, your favorite pregame meal?
Favorite pregame meal, classic, a peanut butter sandwich.
All right. Excuse me. Favorite NHL player?
Does it have to be playing today or could it be playing before?
No, it could be for before, sure.
Eric Lindros. He's always been my #1 fan ever since I started playing.
All right. And what do you do when you're not playing hockey?
Not playing hockey. Love riding motorcycles, and I'm a volunteer firefighter back home, so I love being on the truck.
All right. And if you could choose one CD and one CD only, which one would it be?
Oh, that's a good one. It would have to be Pearl Jam's Greatest Hits album.
That's a nice
Love
one.
it.
All right. If someone plays a gag on you in the dressing room, which teammate would you suspect first?
Oh, Gus Heath.
Gus Heath.
Oh, yeah.
I heard Gus mentioned a couple times.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Here's an American question for you.
Shoot
Trump
me.
or Clinton?
Oh, Trump train all the way.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm a
All right.
big Trump supporter, so.
Trump fan here. All right.
pulling for him.
And is there anybody you'd like to say hello to?
I'd like to give a shout out to my family back home, my brothers and my sisters. My little sister's got a big field hockey game tonight. They're pushing for districts. Hopefully they can make something out of it. And a big shout out to my fire company back home and a couple of my other buddies. My one buddy just got finished his racing season, so congratulations to him and everyone back home.
And I want to thank Eric Lowry for taking the time to do that with us. And he said that Eric Lindros was his favorite player. That's the reason why Eric Lowry wears number 88. I can't help but think through the season before I heard that Derek Boudrea was coming back, I could see a similarity in the game style and the way they play, good foot speed and everything. Eric Lowry and Derek Boudrea could make very good line mates. We'll see what happens on Thursday. Hopefully Derek Boudrea is in the lineup. That's going to do it for this week on Night's Talk. For producer Mark Perry, I'm Rob Leonard. We'll see you next week.